Yeah. See my whole team and you know where to find us. Yeah, you know where to find me. Hey, I'm drowning in grace.
Hello everyone, my name is Gweth, and in today's video I'll be talking about hair shedding and hair breakage. I'll also explain what causes excessive breakage and excessive shedding and what you can do to reduce that so that you can better take care of your hair. So I hope you guys find this video helpful, and let's begin. Hair shedding and hair breakage are things that are pretty normal, but then sometimes they get excessive, and that's when you definitely need to be worried. Hair shedding is a normal process where you lose a few strands of your hair every day. The average human being will lose about 50 to 100 hair strands daily, and sometimes if you have kinky hair or curly hair, when you do protective styles, or since you take a longer time between your wash days, you'll definitely see and recognize that amount, because all that hair will gather up and just stay in one place until you detangle your hair. Most times it will curl up or just mix with your other hair and become knotted, and that's why when you detangle your hair you need to be extra careful. The appearance of shed hair can be a little scary for some people when they see it the first time, because it's the actual length of your hair. It doesn't come out as a bunch, but it's more like a strand or like really thin piece. That's the actual length of your hair, and at the end you'll see like a white little thing which is called the bulb, that is actually like straight from your scalp. So that's the shed hair, and it's very normal. You should not be worried about it. On the other hand, breakage presents itself as shorter pieces than the actual length of your hair. So it might be this short, or actual half of the length of your hair, or shorter, and it's often dry and very brittle compared to the rest of your hair. Also, breakage can be in form of split ends and single strand knots, where you're trying to detangle your hair, but then you find there's a part of it that's really together, like in a ball, a tight ball that is very hard to separate. So now that you've understood the actual difference between hair shedding and hair breakage, I'll move on to explain the causes of excessive shedding and excessive breakage. The hair cycle typically has 3 stages. One of them is anagen, the other one is catagen, and the third one is telogen. So when your hair is in the telogen stage, basically your hair has grown out and it kind of just wants to come off, and you find that is happening on majority of your scalp, and so you're having a lot more shedding than usual because new growth is coming in. When the body is stressed, that causes an imbalance in your body, and with that imbalance your hair follicles and the hair cycle is pushed to the telogen stage, where you experience more shedding in order for new growth to happen. This happens when you decide to go more than a month without washing your hair and cleaning your scalp properly, and so all that build up, all that dirt, all that gunk just gathers up. Sometimes it causes inflammation, there's dead skin cells and build up from products all stuck, and they clog up the pores on your scalp and they cover the hair follicle. That may cause inflammation, like I mentioned, and so over time you'll notice that you're losing so much hair, and that's because that buildup also has weight on your hair, and so it's weighing your hair down, and you're not able to accept product anymore, like absorb moisture. Processing, when you keep putting dyes and texturizers, keratin treatments, relaxers back to back over and over, you'll notice that your hair will start breaking more, especially if you're not conscious of how many times you're applying these products to your hair. These chemical products definitely take something from your natural hair, makes it weaker, because basically you're interfering with the normal structure of your natural hair. When you pick whatever, like pigment or loosen the texture of your hair, you basically make your hair weaker than it initially was. Now definitely there are people who have healthy relaxed hair, and that's because they invest in it properly, they have a proper routine for it, and they use the correct products, and they don't keep relaxing every other week or every other month. They space out the time between it. Really tight styles with your hair, and that would include tight ponytails, low slick buns or high slick buns, or very very tight puffs. First of all, you're creating so much tension on your hairline at the back, the sides, and the front, and so you might notice the first part of your hairline that's going is your edges at the front, but you'll notice the back too is thinner, the sides are weaker, they don't look as full, they're not curling the way they used to, and your hair is breaking so much because of the tension that comes with tight hairstyles. If you're styling your hair every single day or every other day, it's really unnecessary, and you'll notice that you keep losing strands of your hair every time you're retwisting or replaiting or remoisturizing your hair. Another thing is if you're combing or brushing your hair all the time, that's unnecessary. You ideally should only comb your hair with a wide tooth comb on the day you're washing your hair and with conditioner, and while your hair is damp or wet. That way you can reduce the amount of breakage that you're causing to your hair. You'll notice little pieces on your t-shirt, on your clothes, in your hands. A lot of it will be on your comb, so you'll have to like keep removing, and then you're continuing to comb. It's so unnecessary. You're basically drying out your hair. I mentioned this before in one of my previous videos, that your hair naturally produces something called sebum. Sebum is kind of like oily, but you'll not really notice it unless like you leave your hair for a while. You'll notice that your hair gets a little greasy, and so if your hair is straight or wavy, the sebum travels down the hair shaft faster, because I mean your hair is literally straight or wavy, so it doesn't have much corners or meanders to pass through and traveling down to moisturize your hair, because that's what sebum does. But if your hair is curly or kinky, it takes more time for that sebum to travel and moisturize and nourish the rest of your hair. And so when you wash your hair daily, you're removing that sebum from the scalp even before it does its work. Understanding what your hair needs. Basically, if your hair feels really dry, that means it needs moisture. If your hair feels really brittle and weak, it needs some protein in it. And understanding your hair porosity and how your hair behaves with certain products will help you know what exactly you need for your hair at any given time, and you'll know what to use for your hair. Have a healthy hair regimen. Definitely you need to choose what you use to shampoo, how often you shampoo, what you use to condition, how often you condition, how often you deep condition, and what kind of deep conditioners you use, either moisturizing or protein treatments. You need to choose how often you do protective styles and which kind of protective styles are the best for your hair to grow healthy. Basically, any style where you can keep your hair tucked away and you're not touching it every single day, that style is either a low manipulation style or a protective style, and those styles help you retain more length and reduce breakage because you're not doing over manipulation with your hair. Definitely need to identify what styles work for you best and install them the correct way and take them down the correct way. That way you're able to retain length and reduce breakage. Cut out chemical processing from your regimen, especially if you're someone who's experiencing chemical damage or even heat damage. and at the same time you've been using a lot of relaxers, blowouts, texturizers, keratin, chemical treatments and all that, you need to avoid those for a while so that your hair can recover. Possibly stay like a year or 2 years or more without doing any chemical treatment or relaxing to your hair, especially if your ultimate goal is to have healthy natural hair. We've come to the end of this video, and I genuinely hope that this information and the tips that I explained are helpful for you to understand what exactly is causing you to lose so much hair every time you're touching your hair or styling your hair or doing your hair. And I hope that you'll be able to follow these tips, and please comment down below if these are mistakes that you've done, if you find them relatable. Comment down below any other solutions that you have that I may not have mentioned, just so that you can help someone else. And stay tuned for my next upload.
Yeah, sometimes I need a talking back.